Right then, I've got to put my hands up. I made a mistake in the last episode that I did a couple of days ago regarding a VG Sports cassette that I tried. So let's correct the record and get things straight. My name, as always, is Luke, and welcome to Trace Velo. Okay, so in the last video that I uploaded a couple of days ago, I was checking out the L2 GRT gravel group set. Amazing group set, by the way, so go and check out that video for a bit more detail. But it makes use of really large range mountain bike cassettes, and this is where I tripped up. So I was trying to fit a 12-speed mountain bike cassette onto an 11-speed Shimano HG freehub, and in general with that mix of cassette and freehub, you should be putting a spacer behind the cassette before you fit it, and I didn't do that. I tried to fit this 12-speed VG Sports mountain bike cassette onto my set of wheels and faced this issue where the cassette was loose on the freehub. I then wrongly assumed it was a problem with the actual cassette. Essentially, mountain bike cassettes like these are built to a different standard than road ones. So even though it's 12-speed, it's actually built to fit the older spec 10-speed Shimano freehubs. So on an 11-speed road freehub that I fitted the cassette to, it's slightly longer and you need to use a spacer behind the cassette to make it fit properly, which, as mentioned, I didn't actually do. From reading the comments, this is pretty common knowledge actually, but either way, a really stupid mistake on my part, and the cassette was not at fault. So with the required spacer behind the VG Sports cassette, it mounts to the freehub perfectly, so let's test it out. So in general, the shifting performance is pretty good. I had another 12-speed 11 to 50 tooth cassette on here before, a SRAM PG-1230, and the shifting is almost comparable, but it's not quite as good in my opinion. On the VG Sports cassette, it took a little bit of effort to get it to index reliably for the full range of gears, and while it was fine for the majority of the time, there were a couple of instances where it got a little bit hung up. The shifting with the SRAM cassette, on the other hand, was great. It was a little bit easier to index overall, and I actually found it a bit quieter too, especially on the smallest sprocket. Out on the road, this is obviously less of an issue, and overall, the VG Sports cassette does work as advertised. So yeah, apologies to VG Sports. I should have put a spacer behind this thing from the beginning. It definitely does work, and it is built to spec, even if I did find the shifting with the SRAM cassette a bit better, if you ask me. Now, in terms of the durability, I've only put a handful of miles on this thing so far, so I can't really speak to that yet, but I'm gonna keep it on the bike for the next few months, along with the 12-speed chain they sent me, so I'll definitely report back. Now, while this isn't an excuse, and I was wrong to assume the VG Sports cassette was improperly built, let me quickly show you why I came to this conclusion while I was testing it. This is an 11-speed HG road freehub, and these are both 12-speed mountain bike cassettes. Without a spacer, the SRAM cassette actually fits, and it properly tightens down as well. The VG Sports one, however, doesn't. It needs the spacer, or it rattles, as I've demonstrated. And while it's not under compression, so it won't be super accurate, I measured the depth of the cassette body. The SRAM one comes up to about 37.85, while the VG Sports one comes up 1 millimeter shorter to around 36.85. Now, I'd always assumed SRAM and Shimano cassettes were interchangeable and built to the same spec, and they generally are, apart from a handful of exceptions, and this is one of them. So I shouldn't have jumped to conclusions and just used a spacer from the beginning, but hopefully this helps explain my testing process and why I reached the wrong conclusion that I did. So a bit of a learning exercise for sure, but regardless, I don't think this will be the last you'll hear about VG Sports from me, and at least I can test this stuff properly now and give it a really thorough appraisal. Also, before I go, I just want to say a quick thank you to everyone out there. I love the little community that exists in the comments section under my videos. You folks always bring like so much knowledge and expertise with you, and I learn something new every time I post a video. I mean, I guess this is a prime example of that, really. So just on the verge of me going full-time with this, I'm still working my notice at the minute, actually. It's just really cool to have this Trace Velo thing like pushed forward by all that shared knowledge. In many ways, it feels a bit like a kind of community-driven project to me, with people like helping out and chipping in and stuff. So it's just, that's really, really cool. So everyone that emails and comments and stuff, just thank you. I get so much from it, and it's just a sort of facet of this YouTube thing, which I wasn't really expecting when I started this thing up. So yeah, just thank you so much. Really, really cool. Baguette emojis for everybody. Right. Anyway, that is it for this slightly odd episode. So I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.